Peeps, what's up? What's cracking?
You know, I'm working
I
on
don't
it.
know,
I
that
need
was
a
like
bigger
way longer than all the others, but
nice Rickenbacker,
oh well.
Louis V.
Life's
Kelly.
depressing right now, isn't it? Let's be honest. Like, we're in this lockdown. It sucks. It's boring. It's depressing. You can't go out. You can't socialize. You can't do anything. Like, no pubs open. No going to your friends' houses. No keeping your mental health and your whole self up there, or, just maybe up here rather than down here. It's depressing me, guys. It's got me all, I don't know, all over the place. Really, it has. Shades indoors, not sleeping properly, no exercise, and that is doing my head in. Like, really. And, like, I find I don't even focus on, I don't know, on keeping my physical or mental health or appearance or well-being, any of it. I'm not keeping it good, you know? It sucks. Anyway, let's get down to some crazy shit. Right. So I'm about to play how to we put in right how to rap. Now, I've known a lot of rappers, worked with a lot of rappers. I can write lyrics and freestyle jokingly and stuff myself, and so I'm gonna be real critical while sat in this very odd position with like one leg off of this, and yeah, never mind. So this one is called, the channel is called How to Rap, right? And the title is How to Freestyle Rap Better in 5 Simple Steps for Beginners. Wow. I wonder if it's really got 500,000 views genuine. But it says 501k on the views. Released 8 months ago. I reckon I can better this. Much as you're probably thinking, no you can't. Reality check. I know quite a bit about this industry, but let's see.
Grab a pack for the chance to win a VIP experience.
We got an advert. Well, this motherfucker's making money then. This 2 adverts? No way. This better be good, people. If this ain't good, if this ain't good, I'm gonna be pissed off, because this fella's making money, you know? This better be worth watching.
And if you're super passionate about mastering freestyle rap,
alright, it's 11 minutes long.
We have a 2-week video course designed just to help you with freestyling, to master the art of freestyle rapping in just 14 days.
Hey, he's totally catted my idea. I actually set something up like this. I was like helping kids to learn how to freestyle, to rhyme with the wordplay, with the delivery, the flow. Just giving them advice and tuition and teaching them years ago. And I was actually going to do something similar to what he's setting up here. I'm not going to leak and release all of my ideas because he ain't copied and catted all of them, not that he's took them from me. But, yeah. So he's doing a program, Freestyle Fortnite. I shouldn't be promoting him, I guess, but learn a freestyle rap in 2 weeks. Seriously. Daily drills. Basically, he's just doing like some basic tuition. Please don't tell me he makes people pay for that.
That you can check out by visiting the first link in the video description
box below. That's a joke if he
now,
makes
just
people
for clarity's
pay.
sake, I want to make sure that we know
First things first, I don't recognize the guy. Never seen him at a gig or concert, never encountered him online before. It makes me wonder if he's the right person to be that kids or youngers or whoever should be taking advice from. I mean, has he got any credits to his name? Is what I'm wondering. Just because he's done a how to rap dictionary, anyone can produce that. You just list a shitload of words that rhyme and stuff. Like, that's been done a million times before. That's, I think this is probably a businessman just jumping on an opportunity, not necessarily someone who loves hip-hop. From his image, he loves football more. He's wearing a Man City hat and Man City, top. I can't be to read this whole My gosh, he's got a real long description for the vid. He's got these so-called courses and shit. You don't need a course to learn how to rhyme, man. You don't. All you need is a passion for it.
Talking
Practice,
about going
etc.
off the top freestyling in this video. There is an alternative usage of the phrase freestyle that is sometimes used in hip-hop, which really...
Alright, I guess he's gonna explain that sometimes freestyle is used to describe the piece that's written or well rehearsed. And then you got freestyling off the dome, where it's not pre-written, it's, you know, it's just straight off the top.
Means unreleased written verse. This is most commonly the usage we see on radio freestyle.
Yeah, he's wrong there. It doesn't necessarily mean an unreleased, unwritten verse. Oh wait, is he talking about? He's talking about off the dome freestyles, right? But it's funny because in the visuals he's showing people who I'm pretty sure rehearsed exactly what they're spitting.
At places
Rappers
like
don't
LA
go down to radio stations and freestyle off the dome. That's complete BS. It's not the done thing. Maybe one or two have done it, but it's really not the done thing.
Sway in the Morning, and others. There is an ongoing debate in the culture if that is considered.
Right, he is talking about what I thought, off the top versus unreleased verses. As he calls it. He calls it off the top versus unreleased verses. See how I call it off the dome freestyling? You got like straight off the head. It's just pre-written or off the dome. I wouldn't call it off the top versus unreleased verses. That tells me this guy ain't a pure hip-hop head, because he'd just say it's either off the dome or pre-written. You know what I mean?
Real freestyling, and sometimes you see people even clown rappers who call it a freestyle when it's really an unreleased written verse. But I just wanted to hear.
I don't think he gets the word freestyle is used to describe both. Like he's saying people clown people for... Nah, that doesn't happen in this day and age. Come on. It's been decades of people knowing that when people say freestyle, it more often than not does not mean off the dome. It doesn't mean it's just off your head.
To the differences in these usages, so you know what we're talking about right here. This is the spontaneous.
I can't believe this needs to be explained to anyone.
Now that that's out of the way,
really,
let's talk
in a
about
way I
step
can if you're
number
new,
one.
like you're new to hip hop.
Through your stumbles. Spit through your stumbles.
What the fuck is this guy on about? Spit through your stumbles. What the fuck? I've never heard anyone who gives advice on hip-hop rap, how to freestyle, come out with a line like, spit through your stumbles. What the fuck? In some cases, you're better, if you're stumbling, to take a break, pause, get your voice back, and think about everything, get it back on track. You shouldn't necessarily spit through your stumbles, you should recuperate, for God's sake.
I wanted to start with this because if you learn nothing else from this video, which if you stick with it, you're going to learn a ton about freestyle rapping. But if you learn nothing else from this video, learn that you have to spit through your stumbles. To translate this, it means rap through the times you mess up, with spit, of course, being slang.
Who the fuck didn't understand what he was saying in the first place? If you can't hear that well, he's saying to make you understand, that means like when you mess up to keep going. Put it more simple than him.
For rap, and stumbles meaning anytime you trip over your words or your brain freezes or you repeat yourself, you gotta spit or push through it.
No, you don't, people. You don't spit or persevere through it. You take the time to recuperate. You could switch up your flow in that second. You can think about what you're gonna do next. You could switch up everything you're saying, your punchlines, the words you're rhyming. You know, you use that time to recuperate. You don't necessarily rap through stumbling. That could come off awful.
This is a really major key in the DJ Khaled voice to becoming a good freestyler.
No, it's not.
When booking a trip, you
Fuck off, another advert. What? This is nuts. How many adverts do you need? You've had 3 so far, 3 ads, and so far you've came with nothing really that's worth, you know, it's not tuition on how to freestyle yet, that's for sure.
Freestyle rapping is not a natural thing to do any more than dribbling a basketball properly is not something your body was evolutionarily built to do. So in the same way that...
What the fuck? Well, that's not strictly true. I mean, your body is kind of fit to learn to play ball. It is kind of supposed to be out there exercising and doing stuff. You know, like, I think what he's trying to say is you're not born the best freestyler in the world and that you need practice, and practice can potentially make perfect.
When you first start playing basketball, you're gonna not press the ball hard enough and it'll probably bounce back in a weird way and you'll fall over or it hits your knee.
Basically, it's an art form, it's a craft, you need to learn it, you need to master it. Why didn't he just say you're not born with, I don't know, the ability to freestyle off the dome and make sense and switch up the flow and impress people every time in every line that comes out of your mind that's not pre-written? Like, he goes about it like, I think this guy's teaching like 8-year-olds maybe.
When you first start freestyling, yes, you're going to misjudge how many rhymes you have in your head or how quickly you're interacting with the beat. You might fall off.
All I can say is don't take his advice. Do not spit through your stumbles. That's not essential. That's not going to get you anywhere. Like I said, use the time to recuperate. You stumble, you mess up, those are your seconds to think about what you're going to do next.
Your brain might
switch up your flow, switch up your delivery, switch up your rhyming scheme. Throw in any wordplay, any little ideas that are popping in your head. Get your voice back, whatever. Get back on track. Do not just spit through it. You'll end up spitting absolute shit.
freeze. And the only way to get past...
Look, it's like this. If you're doing a run and your muscle gives up, you don't continue to run and look stupid running. Okay? You stop, don't you? It's your body's way of telling you not to continue. So for God's sake, don't spit through your stumbles. His whole first point, I'm telling you not to do that. Because you could end up embarrassing yourself, you could end up really going off track, saying something stupid. You could make your whole rhyming scheme go off course, man. It's just not the best thing to do.
This is to actively accept that you're gonna have some mistakes. Now, the way that I personally...
With the bit about actively mistake, was it actively... Why is he just... Except you're gonna make mistakes. Yeah, obviously. You're learning a craft. Like, come on.
Did this in the beginning was that I called myself out in the freestyle to push through. So I would literally say in the flow, like, oh, okay, I messed up, or just switched off beat, or whatever, just out loud to force myself to keep going. Over time, you will stop tripping up so much because it'll become more natural. Your brain will get used to the idea, oh, we're doing this new thing that you're trying to train me to do.
Basically, with practice, you will get better. And he's just assuring his audience that eventually you'll get better. I still don't agree with his point.
Rhymes stay on beats spontaneously. A similar tactic to force your brain to actually adjust to this new art that you're learning is to force your brain to start rapping, freestyling, the minute the beat starts playing. The most common image we think of somebody who...
Yeah, I'll stop him there. You should at least wait for the drop. For God's sake, you don't start freestyling on the bloody intro. Unless you're freestyling some sort of intro. Like, yeah, you get what he means. Like, I mean, fair play to him. You should, practice freestyle at random. I'm gonna drop some exercises for anyone who wants to test out their abilities, their skills. I'll do that in a couple days.
About to spit a cringy freestyle or just is cringy talking about they want to rap is when they hear a beat.
I gotta be honest, me and him are both cringy. Teaching, tuition of rap coming from us is kind of cringy. This guy, he looks like he's in the football, and I bet he doesn't bust a freestyle.
And they say, yo, I'm about to freestyle. Check it. Yo, yeah, I'm about to flow. Yeah, okay, yeah. And they just spend like 2 minutes straight just...
Seriously, if he doesn't drop a freestyle, wow.
And this is the musical equivalent of getting past the basketball and dribbling with your head down while pacing back and forth along the half-court line without shooting, passing, or even moving forward. It's an obvious example of trying to think of...
Okay, so how do you score a goal then? If he's gonna use this analogy and compare freestyle rapping to learning to play basketball so much, is he gonna explain to the audience how you score a goal? Because it's a different craft, it's a different sport altogether. I mean, I take it that's his whole theme for his video, is comparing freestyle rap and learning to freestyle to learning to play ball. They're kind of totally different things, but yeah.
Of something dope, but it just comes off as an obvious attempt to hide your whackness and the fact you don't...
What's he on about? Saying that something will just come off as an obvious attempt to hide your whackness. He should... Whackness? Who the fuck says whackness? Come on, for one. Two, you just called your whole audience whack. You called their rhymes crap. You called them shit and all of that. For real. He's like suggesting that his audience is shit. And that it's cringy.
Know what you're doing. Much better than just start rapping. So
it's funny he's saying that you suggesting you don't know what you're doing. I get the feeling this guy could not bust decent freestyles. And that is just the vibe he gives off and the fact he ain't spit shit.
Audience is on their back foot mentally and having to pay attention to you rather than you being nervous and trying to over pay attention to the audience listening. Over time you get more...
He's assuming that people have an audience. This is the thing, people. You don't need to have an audience to freestyle, especially not to practice and learn the game. For God's sake, let's use his analogy. If you're going to learn to play ball, you're going to practice on your own or practice with just a few friends at times. So, yeah, you don't need a massive audience. I mean, for God's sake, if you're in the UK, you're learning to battle rap or whatever, you don't just go and jump into Don't Flop in a major battle straight away, or King of the Ring or whatever. You know, you gotta build your skills, own your craft and shit.
Comfortable with this, and you'll be able to train your brain to think under pressure because now you're adjusting while the beat's playing while you're already freestyling. It's also important to understand...
So he's talking about training your brain to think under pressure. And I think, well, he's saying about to think under pressure with an audience, but the reality is, in the beginning, people, freestyle, maybe make a YouTube video of you freestyling, write down rhymes that you're freestyling if you come up with a tight bar that you'd want to repeat in future and stuff. Let me put it this way, I'm going to do a whole new vid for you, and I'm going to give you a lot more tips, and trust me, I can rhyme.
Most beats are not formatted to just be rapped to non-stop spontaneously with no sense of structure, since most beats are meant to have songs written on top of them.
What the fuck is this guy on about? Most beats are supposed to have songs written on top of them and aren't structured so you can rap over them. Pretty much every beat you can rap over. It is possible. And he's implying that rap isn't a part of a song. Like rap vocals do not create and make a song. When they do, this guy, from what he's saying, he doesn't know much. I mean, I'll rewind that. Going back to like 4:26.
Mentally and having to pay attention to you rather than you being nervous and trying to over pay attention to the audience listening. Over time you get more comfortable with this and you'll be able to train your brain to think under pressure because now you're adjusting while the beat's playing while you're already freestyling. It's also important to understand in this step that most beats are not formatted to just be rapped to non-stop spontaneously with no sense of structure, since most beats are meant to have songs written on top of them. This comes into play.
Check that out. Most beats are meant to have songs written on top of them. I think what he meant to say is you're supposed to have a hook written and laid down on the track. But to be honest with you guys, most hip-hop beats, grime beats, little instrumentals, they are produced in a way that you can just start freestyling on top of them. And so he's not accurate on this one. And when he says, oh my god, he shocked me with that. He really has. I mean, how can you say most beats are produced to have songs written over them? What, not freestyling? For God's sake, you can make a piece, a track, something of a song with just your vocals, with a freestyle. It's sad that this guy doesn't realize that, but I could tell from the get-go he's not a hardcore hip-hop head. He's someone exploiting this industry, this genre, and this to make money. That's what he's about, trust me. He ain't some hardcore hip-hop head, and he hasn't gone out of his way to tell you that he's not that.
Because if you're also rapping the minute the beat drops, you're additionally training yourself to morph to the different sections of the beat as they come along.
So his tip here is what? To train yourself to morph to different sections of the beat as they come along. Well, yeah, you have to go along with the track, the beat, the rhythm, and you switch it up, and you can deliver different flows over different sounds, and yeah, you are training your brain. But let's go back to how he's putting this. I'll try not to talk for 10 seconds.
Which are originally intended for a organized song structure. Even better, as you improve, you'll start to notice the sections that are meant to be.
I can't do it. Not every bloody track is made for what he calls, you know, an original song structure. A lot of people who make beats are throwing them out there. You can freestyle over them, and you can make a track out of freestyling. He's talking like you can't, which is annoying me. Next thing he's got written on the screen here is you'll be able to recognize when the assumed chorus section of the beat. What? This don't even make sense. You'll be able to recognize when the assumed chorus section of the beat. I don't think this boy's sentence is complete. Okay. He's not a hip hop head. He's not this big time freestyler he's talking about at all. Or presenting himself as, or just, you know, completely failing to mention that he's not. Because he's constantly focusing on the facts that a lot of mainstream tracks, or the music he's used to listening to, has chorus in the, you know, it focuses on the chorus. What he's used to. He ain't a hip hop head. If he was, he wouldn't be so focused on the idea of, you know, hooks. And they're not even called choruses. In rap, we just call it a hook. Oh man, this guy. I'll try to be quiet again.
Be a chorus or a breakdown, a bridge, and you'll be able to freestyle entire songs and entire song structures while you're still going off the top spontaneously. This brings us to an important third.
Oh, fuck off. An important third. Mate, this was the 4th advert. This is a joke, right? This is some guy just using rap and hip hop. He ain't a hardcore hip hop. He ain't a hardcore hip hop head. And he's just exploiting this shit for money. Trust me. I ain't running ads on this. And I'll do proper hard.
Why not freestyle a chorus?
Why not freestyle a chorus? I'm sure people could have come up with that one themselves. I'll give you guys some tips and hints. Number 1, do not call it a chorus. It's a hook. In hip hop, in rap, it's a hook. It's not a fucking chorus. We're not in the choir now. That ain't what we doing here. Not on my channel. Well, our channel, but you know.
An entire freestyle chorus with your flows. A couple years back when I was performing weekly on stage at a freestyle night with a live band over in Europe, Budapest, Hungary to be exact.
You what? He performed live? Oh my god. Why doesn't he play his actual vocals from that night? A lot of people have performed live. Doesn't necessarily indicate they're any good. I want to hear him rap. I don't know why he's hiding that.
Zach, Magjar, what up? One of the ways I was able to seamlessly meld with the live band's music and other genres was that I knew the inherent song structures common to other genres. So when it was time for a chorus to come, even though I was freestyling spontaneously, I was able to get the crowd involved and even the band involved because they realized that I was perfectly in sync with the song structures, the natural flow.
He was perfectly in sync with the song structure and the natural flow. Tip. You can use any flow. Switch up your flow. Create your own flows. A beat doesn't say, it's not come with a bloody instruction manual on what flow to use. This guy is something else. I mean, he's talking like the flow that he used is the only one that should be used for that track, and that is bullshit. If you're a unique, if you're an artist, if you're creative, what we're gonna do is we're gonna learn to be more unique, creative, inventive with our hooks. We're gonna learn to switch it up. I'm gonna show you some new shit, trust me.
Flow of music that they were putting on. And just to be clear, this wasn't something that I just came up with because I knew there was a band. This is something that I had to practice prior to being on that stage in Europe in order.
Well, that ain't a proper freestyle then, is it? He practiced it prior to being on the stage. So he knew the song structure. So he basically, what he's saying is he rehearsed this piece he did, which is kind of obvious. I don't think this guy raps off the dome. So he's put at the bottom in like written on the screen, practiced adding choruses to my off-the-top freestyles. Oh, is he mad? How can you practice adding a chorus to off-the-top freestyles? If they're off the top, well, they're rehearsed if you're going over it, adding choruses. That means it's no longer off the dome. It's no longer a one-take freestyle hardcore situation. It's rehearsed. See, you got rehearsed stuff and you got straight off the dome. People who can just spit. This guy is one of them guys who rehearses all the shit.
To know how to make it something that's engaging, like making my off the top.
See, the word practice doesn't belong in a sentence with the word off the top or off the dome. Because if you're practicing something, that automatically means the end of his sentence don't make sense, because it can't be an off the top freestyle. Like, if I spit something right now, and then for 10 minutes I practice adding choruses, as he calls them, it's a hook for fuck's sake, then it's no longer an off the top freestyle.
Never thinking of anything freestyle, engaging to a crowd, into other genres, into bands, and the different people you start to see once you start doing this more regularly. So once I knew all of these different tactics about natural progressions of popular song structures, I was able to have a lot of power as a freestyler. Now, if you're not very familiar...
If he's got so much power as a freestyler, why doesn't he show us his freestyles?
With the common song structures of different genres, how they meld with rap, be sure to check out the link in the video description box below talking about songwriting.
Basically, this is now his time to promote his course below. I think all this is advertising and promotion for his own stuff, for his own courses. He wants to make a career out of teaching people when I don't believe he's mastered the art himself.
A free video course about the top 20 songwriting secrets of full-time rappers that we...
The top 20 tips from top rappers, not even from himself.
Made just for you, which will teach you a lot of more
Made just for
information
you.
about that.
What?
Performing with others when you freestyle, like the
keep
story
it real
that I
here.
just told, is one of the main keys to how I was able to get from just okay and going off the top to actually advanced and really making fans on the spot
from freestyling. Right, the thing I don't get about this guy is he ain't spat nothing yet, and he ain't shown us that he can rap, and he calls a hook a chorus. He confuses things, like he says that you rehearse choruses to go with off the top freestyles. Then they're no longer off the top freestyles. You know what I mean? This guy.
Freestyles. Having somebody share
and he's all
the
about
rhythm
advertising,
in a freestyle
promotion
cipher
for
is one of the main ways
you
that
watching
you
his
can go
stuff.
from intermediate, advanced, and really start to be able to freestyle for hours, literally.
Oh, hell no. Intermediate and advanced. What's he gonna do? A course for each one? I've seen this before. I think he thinks he's being original, and I've got to hand it to him. He's jumping on a opportunity, but he's not. He ain't owned his skills, man. Shouldn't be doing it. As far as I see, he's leeching off of hip hop. He's milking it and making some money. He knows there's a whole new wave of people coming through that wouldn't mind a little bit of guidance and tuition and help with songwriting, freestyling, learning their craft too. So, this guy's jumped on it. He's making advertising money. He's getting you to sign up to his course, to subscribe, and he just wants money. It's
clear on this
obvious.
tip when it comes to freestyling with others. The other person doesn't have to be a real rapper. They don't have.
What the hell? He's saying the other person you practice with does not have to be a real rapper. Well, that's just silly, because, like, what's his definition of a real rapper? Like, has this guy dropped any tracks? Because I don't know one I know has heard of him, so technically, he's not what you'd call a real rapper. I don't know how well he's had his ears to the ground, but the fact he calls fucking hooks choruses is just peak.
To have any dreams or aspirations for rap. Many of my best and longest freestyle sessions were often with friends who just like listening to rap, and we had, you know, a couple of drinks, maybe some horticultural act.
How does that mean that his friends weren't rappers? If they're rapping, you know, with you, say you got a friend, right? You have a couple drinks and you rap with each other, you freestyle, etc. You practice with each other. Well, you're as much a real rapper as the other guy is. Let's get away from this real rapper shit.
Activities to help the ideas start flowing, and we would go for hours just off of the top.
Okay, so he'd go for hours, yet he thinks he's the real rapper and his friend's not. That's BS.
Really fun. You'd be surprised at how many friends of yours are totally down to just freestyle for the hell of it, just while at the pregame. As long as you make it clear that you're not trying to win a Grammy here, or there's no pressure to be good. It's just something fun to do while you getting messed up. Of course.
Basically, you'll be surprised how many people can actually rhyme. Because everyone's capable of it.
Real serious
Everyone.
Rappers, and I've done that a lot as well, and you should definitely seek out those people. I just want to make.
Basically, he's saying practice. Get people to trade bars with, is how he puts it. But I would say battle. Engage in rap battles. I'll give you a lot more tips in the future, trust me. And hit me up.
Just with your homies. Like I said, just get them turned.
I'm not about this commercial shit, this business shit. I'm for real. Like, I seriously have invested